question, which is how can you make toy cars start to move using objects around your classroom? So, what were something that what were something that you put in the slide of what worked? Anybody remember?
Push.
Okay, what did you use to push it?
My hand.
Your hand. Okay.
And so that was something that worked?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Anybody
Push
else?
it with your hand.
Anybody else remember anything?
Pushed it with a pencil.
Pencil. Anybody else?
Hold it with the string. Then you give the string.
Yep.
Or say that as well.
Anything else? Anybody else remember anything?
I dropped it off the table.
We had glue on it. Glue on it.
So dropping off the table would probably work, but we're not going to include that because we don't want to ruin our cars. So we were just doing stuff that was on top of the table. Does anyone have other things that were on top of the table that worked?
Does anybody remember what happened when you used the binder?
You used air to move it?
Okay.
Oh, yeah, right.
Oh, good. Good one. And how did you use the ramp?
We tilted like our folder up so it would fall down.
And then you set it at the top and let it roll around? Okay, so we used the ramp. Is there anything that you tried that did not work?
Staring at it.
Staring at it, that's correct, did not work.
Anybody else? Anything? Or can you remember back to our engaged kids? Yeah, you guys are going to use magic.
Magic didn't work. I always mess that word. G-I-C?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks everyone. What else didn't work?
Yelling at it.
Yelling.
Threatening it.
Usually doesn't work for most things. Life lesson for first grade. Anything else that we can add to our T chart over here?
What about the piece of candy? Remember when I had we bribed it?
Bribing. And which one put the in?
What did not work?
Did not. Okay.
So now that we have all those on our T-chart there, you guys notice any patterns for what worked and what did not work? Patrick?
You had to touch it to make it move.
Touch it. Did you have to touch it with your hand or?
No, just had to, something had to touch it.
Okay. And what was touching it when it went down the ramp?
You had to kind of push it down the ramp.
Get started. You have to get it
Put it
started.
on the ramp.
Interesting.
Wait, sit there.
Okay.
Anything else?
So
Any
magic
other-
didn't work because we didn't
Well-
touch it?
Yeah, what about this category? How come these ones didn't work?
Well, I don't know if first graders use the word force. Is that
Oh, well, that's what we're going for.
Oh, okay.
So,
I'm just saying you use a force.
yeah.
I don't know if first graders
Can I call time out?
Yeah.
So Chad asked a great question about what patterns do you notice, but do you have patterns for them to notice on the table, on the data table?
Pretty much just that it's a force. There's not, I mean, it's push, pull.
So would you want to actually elicit more pushes and pulls so that you can think about like you could circle the pushes in a certain color, you could circle the pulls in a certain color? Do you want to try to do that?
Yeah.
Try that.
I just don't know if we have that many more suggestions.
Oh.
Well, you could say pushed with air. Or you could say
Like that?
gravity pull down the ramp. I don't know. Like you could write
Yeah, that'd be-
those words
To
somehow.
get the
That sounds great.
push, pull.
Yeah, try that.
Yeah, we'll do that. Okay. So with this first example, we pushed it with our hand, or we also pushed it with a pencil. This one we pulled it with a string. And then when we used air, how did we use the air?
glue on it?
Pushed it.
That's good.
Push the air, like, or a fan is pushing through the air. So using air, let's erase that. They push with air. And then, does anybody have an idea of what we did with the ramp? Did we push it or did we pull it in any way?
You pushed it down the ramp, the car.
If you got it started, maybe if it wasn't a very high ramp and you had to get it started, you could push it.
So what are the similarities you're seeing with what worked as opposed to what did not work?
It had to have a push or pull.
Good.
Yeah.
Some kind of motion?
Yeah. What about on the other side? Do you guys see any of these words over there?
No.
So do we push it at all on that side? Yelling at it, is that a push or a pull?
No.
No. Bride, magic, staring at it. No pushes, no pulls.
Can anyone think of any other patterns or any other ways we can get it to move?
Okay, well, now we're going to use all of this evidence that we gathered, and evidence is things that we saw. We saw these things when we were doing our investigation and when you guys all had the cars. So now we're going to use this information, our observations, also called our evidence, to try to answer our investigation question. Can someone raise their hand to volunteer and read this investigation question if you have strong reading skills? Yes.
I have strong reading skills.
All right, go for it.
How can you make a toy car start to move using objects in your classroom?
So, can someone raise their hand and try to reword that in their own words? What that means, what we were trying to find? Melissa, would you mind just kind of restating what we're trying to find?
Well, I would probably take out the middle, because we just talked about push and pull, so when you want to put push and pull somewhere?
Like, how can you make a toy car move using a push or pull?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're going for. So now we're going to look at our scientific explanation. We're going to try to fill in these blanks. Do you remember when we gave you guys this sentence frame earlier and had you fill it in on your own? Well, now that we have evidence, we can put it in as a class and try to find the right answer. So it says, I think blank, and we're going to write our claim, and this is what we think is true, the answer, because in the experiment, I saw blank. So what do we think gets a toy car to move? Any ideas? Looking at our patterns over here, what's it going to take?
I think a push or a pull.
Can you say that a little bit louder for the whole class here?
I think a push or a pull.
I think a push or a pull will. Okay.
Move the car.
Okay, a push or a pull will. Can you look up here and try to finish it? Make a toy car move? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Can you tell us why you think that? Because in the experiment and then you're going to go with evidence, which is what you saw with your eyeballs.
Can I call a quick timeout? This is awesome. You guys are doing great. You may want to get the kids just to say evidence and just like get them to repeat it out loud and even say, okay, remember, what is all of these observations called? It's called evidence, just to get them to say it to make that connection.
Okay, so next we're all going to write our evidence. Can you guys repeat after me? Evidence.
Evidence.
And whenever we're talking about evidence, we're going to look back at our observations. So
And
evidence.
point, go point.
We're going to look back right here at our observations. So your evidence is what you saw with your eyeballs.
Yep, and that's what we used. Oh wait, hold on. That's not what we used. Sorry. Okay, so now we're going to pass out a worksheet, and I want you guys to put your name on it and fill in the first blank that we did together as a class. what we found so far for a scientific explanation. We think a push or a pull will make a toy car move. That's what we think the answer is.
Remember your first graders.
So are we coming up with our own evidence right now?
No, we're going to do that as a class.
Or do it as a class? It's not individual work. So we're all going to have the same.
Hopefully.
Okay. Let's draw it over instead. That's what they did.
Okay, once you have that written, put your eyes up on the board over here so I can tell you're ready.
Is she explaining the evidence part? I want to see you or Chad do the evidence part.
That's what we're doing.
Okay.
Remember, whenever you're done, look up that teacher. Here it is.
Okay, so now we have our claims. So now we're gonna fill in our evidence here.
Oh yeah, time out. You should practice your attention getters. I'm sorry.
Class.
Yes.
All right, class. Now we're going to look at our evidence that we have here and write what the evidence that backs up our claim. So, lost my train of thought here.
I think, what we already have written right now is, I think a push or pull will make a toy car move because in the experiment I saw. So once again, we're going to look back at our evidence, which is what we saw with our eyeballs, and we're going to fill in this blank. So does anyone have any ideas? Who needs the observation on the board?
How do you know our claim is true?
Yes.
Because I saw that the toy car moves when there is a push or a pull. Because that's what our evidence says.
You see the toy car move when we wave the wand at it?
No.
Good. So, go ahead and write on your evidence there what you think makes a toy car move.
So write what you saw that backs up what we put for our claim. That a push or a pull will make a toy car move. What did you see that makes you think that's true? Go ahead and fill that in and then draw a picture. So we know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, snacking. I think I emailed it to you guys. I can look it up. Oh, you're out of time. Okay. You right back?
Okay, class. So today we learned that our evidence is what we observed with our own eyes, and we use that information to fill out our scientific explanation. And you wrote, I think a push or a pull will make a toy car move because in the experiment I saw the car move when I pulled it with a string and pushed it with my hand. So, we just said.
Yeah, just saying.
Okay.